Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss important topic in the 4th unit under POM, Principles of Management. The title of the 4th unit is Directing. In Directing, we are going to see the topic called as Communication. First, we are going to see the definition for communication. Communication is the process of passing of information from one person to another person. It should always be clear and understood by the person who receives the information. So communication should be having two persons. One is sender, another one receiver. Through a medium, the communications will be taking place. And once it reaches the receiver will be sending the feedback, because through feedback only we can able to understand that the communication is effective. Clear? This is communication. So communication is, in a single word, if you tell, means it is passing of information. Passing of information from one person to another person. Clear? Now we are going to discuss the importance of communication next. Importance of communication. In an organization, communication is necessary for number 1, good coordination, then avoiding lack and insufficient information. Then third one, initiating, transmitting and receiving the data. For all these three things, we need an effective communication. For all these three things, we need an effective communication. First one is coordination. Next one, to avoid the lag of information. Then third one, initiating, transmitting and receiving the data. Okay. Now, we are going to see the purpose of communication. Purpose. In organizing, we have seen the 5 organizations which are planning, organizing, staffing, leading or directing, then controlling. This organization will be carried out through communication to the customers, suppliers, then government, community, then other stakeholders. So this is possible only if there is communication. So this is the main purpose of communication. Okay. Now, next is we are going to see the flow of the process of communication. The process is we will be having a sender. Through a message, he will be encoding through a medium. Then this encoded message will be decoded by the receiver. Then the receiver will be getting the information. Once the information is obtained, he will be replying through a message which is once again encoded through a medium, then it is decoded by the sender. So this is the process of communication. It takes place in 2 phases. One is transmission phase, another one feedback phase. In these 2 phases there will be noises. We have to avoid this noise to make the communication effective. This is called as the process of communication. Then next we are going to see the flow of communication. Flow. It takes place in 3 different directions. First one is downward direction. Next one upward direction. Then third one horizontal direction. Usually in an organization the communication will be carried out by downward direction. The top manager will be sending the information to the middle level manager to the lower level working peoples. Then if the communication is from the lower level management to the middle, then to the top, it is called as upward communication. In between different managers, if there is any communication, it is called as horizontal communication. So these are the different flows of communication. Next, barriers to the effective communication. The noise, what we have seen in the definition, or in the process of communication is the barrier. It may be in the form of 5 types. Number 1, physical barrier. Number 2, socio-psychological barrier, organizational barrier, semantic barrier, then mechanical barrier. These are the 5 barriers which makes the communication ineffective. So to make a communication effective, these barriers should be avoided. First, we shall see one by one. Physical barrier. These are environmental factors that reduce the sending and receiving of communication. It includes physical distance, then distracting noises. If the distance is more between the sender and receiver, without any communicating medium, if they are speaking, then it is due to the distance, physical distance, the communication is improper. This is called as physical barrier. If there is any noise or disturbances in a crowd, if they are in a meeting, then there is some disturbances. It leads to the physical barrier. Then, next one, psychological barrier. It arises due to motives, attitudes, judgment, and emotions. If any people in a meeting got emotioned, then the communication will not be effective due to the feelings. So this barrier comes under socio-psychological barrier. Then next one, organizational barrier. Usually information passes from downward communication, as we have seen already, through the hierarchical structure in organization. So there may be chances of information being filtered. Okay, this is organization barrier. Then fourth one, semantic barrier. This is due to the symbolic representation. If two persons are communicating and one person knowledge is not known to the other person, then it leads to semantic barrier. Okay, it refers the relationship of signs to their references. It arises due to limitations of the symbolic system. Generally, symbols may be classified as language, picture, then action. Then last communication barrier is mechanical barrier. It includes inadequate arrangement for transmission of new facts and figure, poor office layout, defective procedure, and practices. All these leads to the mechanical barriers. So in this video we have seen the definition for communication, importance of communication, purpose, process, flow of communication, barriers of communications. Thank you for listening to this video.